What's going on, everyone? So I did not expect to be doing a video this soon, but so many of you were extremely supportive yesterday. So I decided to bring one back from the old times, a true classic in Leia Red. This is a deck that, well, this was the first video I posted on the channel, but it was of course not with set 2 cards. So I wanted to revisit it today as a little bit of a callback and talk about some of the new additions. There's not a ton of them because, well, there wasn't a ton of rebels in set 2, but there are a few that I do think have improved the deck a good amount. So without further ado, let's dive into it. I suppose before we do, a couple of quick announcements. First off, I have a TCG player link in the description down below, guys. It does help me out, and I appreciate anyone that's been using it, as well as helps yourself out. And the second thing is a big thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. We've gotten so many new ones. Again, I appreciate all of your support. Leia Red. So this is probably one of my favorite leaders overall in the entirety of Star Wars Unlimited. Her frontside action to attack with a rebel unit and then attack with another rebel unit, essentially allowing you to attack with 2 different units in a single action with her frontside ability, is extremely strong when you're able to get that actual action off. Now, of course, you're going to need 2 units on the battlefield. They need to be rebel units and they need to be actually readied up. So it's not all the time when you can use her action, but it is pretty sweet when you're able to do so. Then she flips as a 3/6 with raid 1 and for 5 resources, and allows you to attack with another rebel unit after you complete an attack with Leia, which is really quite powerful, again, because you could use something like Rebel Assault, which essentially gives you the frontside Leia ability, but gives you pump, +1/+1 for the attack, or +1/+0 for the attack for 2 different rebel units. And this allows you to attack with 3 rebel units if you're able to have 3 units on the battlefield, which is possible with Leia here, assuming you're going to be pumping up some other units. It's less so possible nowadays, as a lot of people kind of know the jig, but it is extremely strong. And you can get in attacks for like, well, 16-17 points of damage with a single card in Rebel Assault, which is really quite strong. So what do we get from set 2? What are some of the new things and what are some of the old things? Well, in terms of some of the old things, well, we still have the same Rebel package. We're still running things like Battlefield Marine, A-Wing, Sabine Wren. All of these cards are still great. We have the Echo Base, just another copy to smooth out our 3 resource curve. Red 3s, Wing Leaders, and Fleet Lieutenants, all of which to kind of pump up other units or just to get some immediate damage in, all synergize with the Rebel synergy, and I guess Red 3 specifically with Heroism. In our 4-drop slot, we have K2SO, General Dodonna, pumps up our Rebel units, and just overall a strong Rebel unit in K2 to burn out our opponent. And then in our 7-drop slot, we have U-Wing reinforcements. All of these are kind of normal stuff that we've seen before in Leia decks. In terms of events, we have the Rebel Assaults, Medal Ceremonies, for Causes. Medal Ceremony is going to help us give us some experience tokens to units that have attacked. Rebel Assault just gets in a bunch of damage with the Rebel units. Really good in the mirrors. When I say mirror, I mean like the Sabine matchup. For a Cause, just a really nice way to burn out our opponent later on in the game. Doesn't have a 100% hit rate, but very frequently is going to hit for 4 damage. And then lastly, we have our new set 2 cards. Cards that, well, we actually dropped into the deck now with set 2. The first one being Timely Intervention. Timely Intervention is really nice. It gives us the ECL portion of Sabine Green, because later on in the game, we can actually timely out things like, well, we'll get to them later, but Wrecker, Poe Dameron, K2s, things like that, which is pretty important. We also have Inspiring Mentor. Inspiring Mentor works really well in this deck, especially since when you attack or use Leia's action, you can actually attack, give that experience token to another unit that you plan on attacking with the Leia Organa action, which is kind of sweet. We have Y-Wing, which is another Rebel unit coming down on turn 1 in the space arena. And this one is actually comparable to A-Wing in the early stages of the game, especially with Tarkin Town, because your opponent doesn't really want to hit their own units, since you can also Tarkin Town them away. There are some cases where it will only deal 1 damage, but it ends up usually hitting for 3. We have a Ketsu Onyo as well in our 2 resource spot, just as another 2 resource play, and is a really strong one when we actually do get those upgrades on your opponent's units, or when your opponent puts upgrades on your units, or when upgrades are just being played. It just happens. Then in our 3 resource play, we have Cassian, probably the best addition to the deck. as he is a rebel. 3-5 for 3 resources. Really nice stat line. Doesn't usually die often. And then gets to be smuggled out for 5 resources, which is the same turn that Leia comes down. So you can actually get a readied up rebel unit on the turn that Leia comes down, if that's something that you really want to be doing. And then lastly, we actually are running Poes and Wreckers, but we don't have to run the full playset because we don't have Energy Conversion Lab, but it is a way to kind of give us more power in the middle stages of the game. Now, normally I would say that it's a little bit too slow because you can't attack with it immediately, and in some cases you'd rather just kind of flood the board. But with Leia, because she comes down as on 5 resources and has that 6 toughness point, there's oftentimes situations where either Leia's going to survive or Poe Dameron's going to survive, and either one is going to be pretty powerful. And so it kind of works well with a later deploy leader like Leia, as well as, you know, having Ewing in your deck, right? You can go Ewing reinforcements, grab a Poe Dameron and a 2 resource play, which can be really powerful, or a Wrecker, which is nice. And in some cases, that Wrecker is all you need to win with a time intervention later on in the game, so it is worth being played in the deck. This is the updated Leia Red that I have been playing around with lately. It is a true classic, and again, the first deck that I played on the channel for you, or actually the first deck that I showcased on the channel for you. I've actually never played Leia Red for you all in a video because Carabas didn't really exist back then. So I'm excited to dive in and play some Leia, as this is the first deck I built in paper, the first deck I showcased on the channel, and probably my favorite leader, just in terms of what you can do with Rebel Assault and when you flip Leia. Let's dive into some games. Into our first matchup here against Han Yellow. So this is actually a really tough matchup. I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. I will say Leia Red is not exactly an extremely powerful deck. There's a reason why Sabine Green is talked about all the time and Leia Red is not necessarily, and that is because Sabine Green is by far the stronger variant of the kind of aggressive heroism decks. Okay, we have a couple of 3 resource plays here. I think I'm just going to resource this Y-Wing. Han Yellow, if they have Millennium Falcon, it could be really, really bad for us. But fortunately, they do not, at least at the current moment. And so we get to go ahead and immediately kill one of their cartel turncoats, and we'll see if they actually just kill my A-Wing. Looks like they do. Not really surprised at that one, mainly because if they don't, then, well, we're just going to be able to go ahead and get in some extra value trades, which is really, really strong. Ewing reinforcements being drawn. I think I can resource this Cassian at this point. And I think I just want to get down the General Dodonna. It's going to pump up the Echo-based defender. And yes, at least at the current moment, there's a good chance that it's going to die anyways, because General Dodonna is going to die. And so even though right now we outstat Ezra, it's still going to put 3 points of damage on the Echo base. And oh, wow, they're going to surprise strike. That's really good for us. They're going to Spark Rebellion, probably take either Ewing reinforcements or Wrecker. I mean, they could take Fleet Lieutenant, but overall, that is a really nice spot for us to be in. They're going to get a Fleet Lieutenant. Okay, that's totally fine. Let's hope we draw something pretty nice. We drew Cassian and a Battlefield Marine, so I quite like that draw. I'm going to go to get rid of this Rebel Assault just because there's no reason to keep that in hand when our hand looks kind of like this. We do have the Cassian from our resource pile that we can get just to be immediately readied, but we're not really putting in a ton of pressure on our opponent right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and ready up the Leia. She has a 4/7, which is really nice. Again, from General Dodonna. Now, they can go ahead and attack into my General Dodonna with the Han Solo to finish off the pump that we're getting. But right now, we're looking pretty nice. And it looks like they're going to drop a Cantina Bouncer down, which is totally fine. I'm just going to go ahead and get down a couple of different plays. Flood the board, and then we could play our General Dodonna later. Remember, we have that time intervention, which is really nice with... Oh. Okay, they're going to action to get down a Han Solo. We're going to attack in for 4, again with that raid 1. And we're going to see what they decide to do here. They might just kill off one of my units here. They could kill like a Battlefield Marine off, but if they do, I can go ahead and kill their Han Solo off with my Cassian. And it looks like that's what they're going to do. So we're going to go ahead and claim initiative. Double Wrecker. Ooh, okay. Here, I think... I'm actually not sure what I want to play here. I think I actually want to timely intervention out a General Dodonna is very possible. So I think I'm going to resource one of these Wreckers. It's possible also that I would just want to go ahead and timely out a Wrecker, so just save up until that point, but we'll see. They're going to destroy Surprise Strike and Han Solo. We're going to go ahead and immediately kill their Han. Again, the reason why is they could have another Han Solo unit, but we just want to get rid of the Han Solo unit. Looks like they have a Kira, so they kept Kira in hand. Let's see what they name. I'm going to wait until they figure out what they're going to name. They're going to name Wrecker. That's totally fine. I plan on kind of wing leadering up my Leia anyways, so this works out perfectly fine for me. See if they decide to attack Cassian. They do. That's totally fine. I'm going to go ahead and kill Kira. Might seem a little bit counterintuitive to do so. Wow, they're going to kill my wing leader. Yeah, we're just going to target down Cantina Bouncer. Make sure they can't like surprise strike my Leia away. So now they have no cards in hand. They could smuggle out something. Their Leia or their Han is down. We are in an amazing spot here. We are in an amazing spot. One of the cards that I don't really want to see is going to be that Han Solo units, because it can kill Leia and then they're going to leave behind a 6/6 thing that can attack first. But remember, we have a timing intervention out Wrecker, which is going to really put us in a nice spot later on in the game. We're grinding them out, and they have a Millennium Falcon, and we're going to go on and U-Wing reinforcements, and let's see what we can grab today. So we have double Fleet Lieutenant Spec Force Soldier, which looks pretty good. We can go K2 plus Fleet Lieutenant. I think I actually just want to grab K2 plus Fleet Lieutenant just so I can attack in for as much damage as possible. Let's see. Did I hit submit? Okay, there we go. So get the When Played, get in an attack for 8, and we kind of massively flooded the board already. I could Metal Ceremony up a Leia, but I don't think that's really necessary. Looks like they have a tech, and that's awesome because we are going to be able to, well, kill off the tech here if we want to. Or we could just get down a General Dodonna and then go in for kind of the win. And I think I'd rather just place a General Dodonna and see where the game takes us. They could start smuggling stuff out, but the best they could smuggle out is a 4 resource play in their resource pile, which is not really that strong. Looks like they have a Cunning, so they can do some exhausting if they want. Cunning is a really, really nice draw for them. That's probably one of the best draws that they could have had. They can return my General Dodonna to my hand if they want to do so, but if they do that, then we just replay it. Red 3 is looking pretty bad here, I will say. Just because they could just kill it with Millennium Falcon. I think you should probably be bouncing. Oh, they're going to buff. They're going to exhaust units and buff up the Millennium Falcons. They're racing me. I don't really think that that's going to work out all that well for my opponent. We're just going to attack them for 4 here. And then if they make any play, we can just claim initiative and attack with Leia alongside one of their units, and it's game over. So I'm just going to claim initiative. There's not really much that can go wrong here. If they have a surprise strike to kill my Leia, then that's fine because I have Leia action, right? And we can attack with 2 rebel units anyways. Pretty nice showing. We had a lot of different avenues to win that game. I think our opponent had a pretty weak hand. Double Cartel Turncoat on turn 1 is pretty weak against the A-Wing, of course. They had to essentially trade off all their early damage. They surprise strike with Ezra to kill my Echo-based defender, and it was just a trade, so that was a 2-for-1. That was really nice for us. We got rid of their Han Solo leader with, you know, kind of a couple of attacks. We were able to flood the board. It worked out really nice for us. So awesome first game. Let's move on to the next one. On to our next game against Boss Green. Now, this one might be a little bit tricky. We have a pretty good hand here, though. We got ourselves 2 resource play, 3 resource play, 4 resource play. I think in this spot, I will resource the Rebel Assault and Inspiring Mentor. Yes, I could keep one of those cards at resource like a For a Cause, but both of those require multiple units on the battlefield to work. And if I resource one of my units, then obviously those get worse. And we already have like a pretty nice curve here, so I want to keep these 3 guaranteed. And then the question is, do I want to keep like a Rebel Assault, an Inspiring Mentor, or like a For a Cause? And I think For a Cause has the most upside here, so I'm going to go ahead and keep that, especially since Bosk is looking to kill my units, right? Here they've got a bounty hunter's quarry, so they're going to be able to deal some damage to Sabine and you know, ping it down, right? This is just classic Bosk stuff. Very classic Bosk stuff. Nothing too crazy going on here. We're going to have to kill Dengar with our Sabine, which is a little bit unfortunate, but nothing else that we can do about it. Drew ourselves a Podameron. I think I'm going to resource this for a cause. I don't think that's how the matchup's going to go. And they have a great start, right? This is like the dream start. Feels like every time I fight Bosk, it's always like the dream start. Dengar upgrade, get Bounty Hunter's Quarry is the best upgrade you want, or bounty that you want. And we're going to have to kill Dengar here. Not much that we could do about that. And whoops, I should have dealt 1 damage to the base here. I just double clicked immediately and I missed out on a point of damage, which could matter. Could definitely matter. I do like casting this matchup though because of the high toughness factor. So that's going to be pretty nice. Cards that they could be getting: Phase 3 Dark Trooper, Super Laser Technician, lots of different stuff. Looks like they got a Black Sun Starfighter. So one of the weaker options, I will definitely say. Something that I'm not really that scared of. Got double Sentinel though. I mean, they are sentineling up. Let's pass as don't really need to be doing anything else here. Timely Intervention is really nice. I'm actually going to keep it in hand over something like a Sabine Wren here. Very likely I'll just play out a Podameron, but there's also a chance that I will want to wait till 6 resources and timely out a Podameron. So I'm going to go ahead and resource this Sabine since I already have the kind of natural curve K2 in a Podameron. Good chance that they'll put a bounty on my Cassian. Nope, they're just going to attack. Let's go ahead and kill their Sentinel. Nothing else that we can really do here. Don't really have many other options. Really nice start for Bosk, right? Getting double Sentinel in both arenas. Killing off our Sabine Wren early on in the game with the double 1-drop play. Like all of which, excellent plays to start them off. Let's go ahead and claim initiative. They have a Gamorrean Retainer. And they have a rich reward to place on my Cassian. I'm going to deal 1 damage to Cassian. And we've drawn ourselves another timely intervention. So I have a couple of options here. I could attack in with Cassian so that they only claim the rich reward a single time and only goes to the Black Sun Starfighter. But I actually have the Rebel Assault plus the Leia, which may seem like a little bit awkward. But I could also just double attack the Bosk with both my units here. So I think what I'm going to do is go for the value trade of killing the Gamorrean Retainer immediately. They're going to attack the Black Sun Starfighter. We're going to ready up the Leia. And now if they get down to Bosk, then we are going to be able to attack with both of our Rebel units and finish off Bosk, which is going to be really nice. And even if they pass or put a bounty on something, then we can just drop a Podameron in, right? Phase 3 Dark Trooper. Okay, so now I will just trade with their Phase 3 Dark Trooper and they can claim the bounty a single time. I think what they should have done is just deal 1 damage to the Cassian, which would have been a little bit more valuable, I think. Get down to Bosk. Let's go ahead and play a Podameron. And we'll see what they've got for the 2 resources that they have left in single card in hand. We have a U-Wing Reinforcements, which is going to look pretty nice. They're going to attack for 4. We're going to claim initiative. There's no reason for us to attack here. We want to get rid of this Bosk. We've drawn, well, U-Wing Reinforcements for cause, Rebel Assault. We don't quite have Cassian in the resource pile, but what we can do is attack Bosk. And we will defeat an experience over here. And I will discard a U-Wing Reinforcements to kill out the Black Sun Starfighter. That way we kill off all their units. We have multiple units in play. We can drop the 4 cause here to set up our next couple of draws, and we can curve into a U-Wing Reinforcements, which looks pretty nice. So let's start off with a 4 cause here. And I will put Wrecker on top. And I think we could just discard all these other ones because we are going to be playing a Ewing reinforcements next turn. And I'm going to have Wrecker for the following turn that we can timely out, which is going to look pretty nice here. So here we attack Chrysanthemum, and then we attack with K2 into their base, and then we Tarkin Town away the Chrysanthemum, and then we'll pass. So now we can resource this Y-Wing. And I mean, Poe Dameron's looking excellent this game. We've really controlled the game after their initial start, like getting a lot of good trades in. Normally, I would love to hit just the base, but you can't do that with Bosk. Otherwise, they'll start to claim a bunch of bounties and get really oppressive really quickly. They have a rich reward they're going to place on the Poe Dameron. Okay. In that case, I'm going to discard the Wrecker to defeat the rich reward. And then just get in for 6 points of damage. They're going to use the Bosk ability, but it doesn't matter. So now, we get double Wing Leader. Love that. Double Wing Leader. I think that's what we want, just to pump up both of our units. And that should be a lot of damage. Let's pass. And now we just got double Wing Leader. We can timely out one of these cards if we want to, but that's going to be GG. Pretty sweet game there. They had a really nice start with Bounty Hunters, Quarry, and Dengar. That's kind of the ideal situation you want to be in. They even followed that up with a Phase 3 Dark Trooper plus Black Sun Starfighter, which gave them double Sentinel. But then on turn 3, that's when they started to fizzle out a little bit with a Gamorrean Retainer. They didn't really have that great of a follow-up. And fortunately for us, we were able to get there all the way. I do think they should have knocked out my Cassian with the Bosk action after I attacked with K2. If their plan was to try to hide behind Sentinel, that was something that I think they should have done differently, and they might have had a little bit of a better spot. But overall, I think we had a pretty nice hand for what they were trying to do. On to the next one. Into our next game, and normally this hand would look amazing if this Ketsuonya was a Sabine Wren I would keep, but I'm actually going to mulligan because we have a lot of 2 resource plays, and I think we could do a lot better. We have a Y-Wing that I'm going to go on a resource, and I think I will actually resource this for a cause. We have a nice 2 resource play that I am just going to drop immediately, and we're going to see what our opponent has here. Let's claim initiative. And we got ourselves a couple more 2 resource plays. I think I will just resource this Y-Wing. I think I'd rather get down this Ketsuonya, and I will immediately attack this Benthic 2 tubes, get that off the board, and then just drop in a Ketsuonya to follow up. Ketsuonya, they can discard a card to kill my Battlefield Marine and pump up the Death Star Stormtrooper, which looks decent for them. Migs Mayfield as a follow-up is a really nice follow-up. See what our opponent's going to do. They could discard a card, kill my unit, Jeddah City, kill the other units, and that would be a pretty nice situation for them to be in. Oh, they have Daring Raid. Wow, what a hand from our opponent. That was ridiculous. That was a ridiculous hand. Now we're in trouble because having Migs Mayfield stick out on the battlefield can be really, really tough for us to deal with. Let's go ahead and resource this red 3, but I'm not liking our spot at all. We're going to get down this K2, and we're going to see what they've got because we don't have anything else to do, right? They're going to discard a card. They could play a card, but there's also a chance they just discard a card, deal 2 damage to our base, attack us for a ton of damage. Like, this could just be the end of the game. Them having the perfect answer to all of our cards and us not drawing an actual 3 resource play is really hindering us right now. So yeah, they're going to hit us for up to 7. Oh, they're going to hit our K2. I'm a little bit surprised on that one. I would have hit the base. I would have just ignored K2 at this point in the game. And it's for 5. Hit us for 2. Yeah, I don't know if they are ignoring our K2. Which is weird because they could have just hit the base for 2 instead of hitting K2. But okay. Let's just go ahead and immediately kill the Kylo Ren. Since it's got the highest power here, just kill it. Make them discard a card. Because the damage is not going to matter. Ooh, Fallen Lightsaber. Really nice hit here. Oh. So they misplayed there. They could have hit our base for 2. And now we're going to be able to put on an Echo Base Defender and then get an Inspiring Mentor going and start knocking off all of their units. They're going to get us down to really close to just absolutely dead. Okay, let's go ahead and ready up a Leia. What do you mean? Ready up Leia. They attacked into the Echo Base Defender. We're going to put an Inspiring Mentor on it, kill their Stormtrooper, get an experience token over here, and we're going to pass. We have the triple Cassian draw. Not a fantastic draw by any means, but, you know, not terrible. Wow, what a top deck from them. All right, GG. Nothing we could do for that. Our opponent just had a great hand there. They were able to get rid of all of our units. If that Ketsuonya was a Cassian Andor, I think we would have won. But then they top decked the absolute perfect card, which is the Ruthless Raider, to finish it off. So really nice hand from our opponent. We couldn't get any use out of Tarkin Town. It's one of those matchups where Tarkin Town's pretty bad at. Man, so close, so close. On to the next one. Okay, into a really, really rough matchup for us, actually, and that is Sabine Green. Now, with this matchup, one of the big things that we have to remember is they got so much more off of set 2 than we did. And normally this was a pretty close matchup, but I think Sabine Green is pretty heavily favored. This is a hand I have to mulligan. It might seem like, why am I mulliganing this, even though I have a nice, perfectly fine 2-resource play? It is because you cannot really be playing the A-Wing into your opponent. Why? Because this exact scenario can happen where they have an A-Wing. And if they have an A-Wing, well, guess what? You are pretty rough, pretty doomed, because they could just kill your A-Wing with their A-Wing and not really have any repercussions. So really just cannot keep a hand like that to start it off. Here, we're going to go ahead and wing leader our own Battlefield Marine, and we're both going to get in for 5. Nice thing is that our wing leader can actually kill their A-Wing because of the Tarkin Town, so that's pretty nice. Here we have a double 2-resource play, which is pretty good. I'm going to go and resource this Wrecker, since it's probably not something that I'm going to be using. Ooh, Rebel Assault get in for a lot of damage here is really nice for them. We're going to go ahead and attack their A-Wing and Tarkin Town it away. Tarkin Town away the A-Wing. Now they have 3 resources, which is a little bit awkward. Oh, they have a 4 of cause. My goodness, what an insane hand for our opponent. Geez. They're keeping Cassian and a Sabine Wren. So let's go ahead and get down a Battlefield Marine. Let's go ahead and get down an Inspiring Mentor. And we're going to claim initiative. Can't really do anything else. We don't have an answer for this wing leader. We are in a really, really rough spot. That is just what's happening here. They can ECL out Poe Dameron, which is going to be pretty good. They just had an amazing hand. They had their space unit into wing leader, into Rebel Assault, into 4 cause, which just burns down so much damage. They had a heroic sacrifice, which means that oh man, we are kind of trapped, because they can just action us twice and we're completely dead, right? That is really unfortunate. They have ECL K2, and that's going to be GG. Wow. As you can see, not even really close. It's the ECL nature of things that makes it really tough, because anything that we really do is really, really going to get countered in the kind of middle stages of the game. But they also had just an amazing space-oriented hand. And because of Sabine's early deployment, it makes it so that we can't really attack. Otherwise, they're going to be getting in a ton of additional damage. But they also just, again, had a really, really nice hand to start them out. We had the wing leader. We had to essentially use our 2 actions to deal with their wing leader, or to deal with their A-Wing, when they just could hit our base, right? They could just ignore us. And that's partially because they had the initiative as well. But pretty nice one from our opponent. Let's move on to the next one. Into our next matchup against Palpatine Blue. So it looks like a little bit of a controlling matchup. I would normally keep this hand, but we have 3 events and a wrecker. So none of these are going to be playable in the early game, which is where we're going to get our early damage in. We need a mulligan to hopefully have a more early game focused hand. And this is the type of hand that would be something like that. Resource both wreckers. And we're going to go ahead and get down our Sabine Wren here to start us off. They've got the Inferno 4, which is pretty reasonable. We drew ourselves a red 3, which looks pretty nice as well. I'm going to go and resource this Y-Wing. They have a phase 3 Dark Trooper. So let's go ahead and just get down this red 3. They can attack it. We're going to Tarkin Town away the Inferno 4. And then we are going to just attack the, we're going to hit their base for 1 with the Sabine ping because the red 3 is going to finish off the phase 3 Dark Trooper. Drew ourselves double K2SO, which looks pretty decent. I think I'm going to resource the Ketsu. They probably have like Takedown, Power the Dark Side, Make an Opening, all manner of cards that are going to get rid of this red 3. But it's an okay start for us. They have a Super Laser Technician. Okay, that's pretty nice for us as well because we get to get in for some damage. They're going to be able to go ahead and kill the red 3 and draw a card and ramp, which obviously isn't great, but we at least got in some damage. Double Inspiring Mentor plus Metal Ceremony were the draws. So Metal Ceremony could be interesting. I think I don't want double Inspiring Mentor. Okay, let's deal 3 damage. They're going to take down the K2. Let's deploy ourselves a Leia. And let's just attack in for 4. Let's get down a K2. And I think we just Metal Ceremony here. Time Intervention, not exactly a draw that we care about here. Remember, they are playing blue, so they can Super Laser Blast next turn, which is going to be pretty rough for us. Phase 3 Dark Trooper, huh? All right, let's attack in. Get in for 1. They're going to draw a card. We're going to attack in for 5. They're going to claim initiative. I will put down an A-Wing, just one of them, because they could Super Laser Blast, but they could also just steal my K2 with the Palpatine flip. And if they go with the steal K2 with Palpatine flip, we're going to be able to get in a decent chunk of damage. But they have a Super Laser Blast, which is kind of what we expected. Let's go ahead and get down Cassian here. Get in for 3. And then we'll play, I suppose, an A-Wing. Let's just hope that they don't have a secondary Super Laser Blast here. If they do, it'll be pretty rough for us. But, I mean, I suppose we can get down the General Dodonna and Fleet Lieutenant here, which would be pretty nice. We can Leia action, remember. Let's go and resource the Time Intervention, since none of our cards really require that much resources, and we can always smuggle out the Time Intervention. May as well get the extra resource when we can just smuggle it out anyways. So if they don't have an immediate way to kill both things, ooh, that's interesting. Let's go ahead and get down to General Dodonna here. Actually, let's go Inspiring Mentor and Cassian. Let's see if they decide to flip Palpatine. Because right now we attack for 4, 8. If they don't flip Palpatine here, we win the game. Because remember, we can double attack with Leia. If they do flip Palpatine, they're going to activate. They're going to sacrifice to kill off the A-Wing. Nice. So now we just activate Leia, attack, and now if they flip Palpatine, they don't have enough damage to kill a Cassian, and we win. So they claimed initiative. So now they're looking for Super Laser Blast. That's the only card that they could have that I think gets them out of this situation. What could also work? No, I think it's only Super Laser Blast. So I'm just not going to resource anything. Or I'm not going to play anything. Them having to sacrifice their own Reinforcement Walker to flip is pretty nice for us. See if they have Super Laser Blast. If they don't, I guess they gotta have a Vigilance. So they heal up a little bit. That would work. They defeat the A-Wing. Okay, we got there. So they had Super Laser Blast at the right time, which was nice. But outside of that, I mean, they didn't have an amazing hand. They didn't kill off all of our units as we were going up. And actually, this is a matchup where I like Leia, and I like Leia's action against controlling matchups, especially since there's a lot of situations where you're going to guarantee additional damage because you're able to attack with multiple units. But I was thinking that, like, okay, if in that last turn, if they deal damage to something, then we can just attack with both things, because they're trying to flip Palpatine to steal it, right? So we attack with both things, and then we can just claim initiative if they flip Palpatine. If they claim initiative, we play a General Dodonna, and we can just kill them. So our opponent was just kind of done for. There wasn't much that they could do in those spots. Leia ended up doing really nice work because she attacks for a decent chunk of damage. And she also just really allows you to attack with multiple units. Like if we didn't have Leia action there, that would have been pretty rough for us because we wouldn't have been able to get in that little bit of extra damage. I think Sabine Green still would have taken it here because we would have done a bunch of extra damage with like the Sabine action. And if we had literally the exact same hand, but it was Sabine Green, it would have been the same outcome. But regardless, pretty nice one. On to the next one. Into our next matchup. Looks like we got ourselves a game against Vader Green, and we have a pretty nice one. Fleet Lieutenant on turn 2. We have ourselves a turn 1 Rebel, either the Y-Wing or the A-Wing. I guess I'll keep both of them in hand and just resource the Cassian, just to see what they end up playing here. Suppose Y-Wing or A-Wing is totally fine. It doesn't really matter. A-Wing is the guaranteed damage, so I guess I'll go with A-Wing. They could ECL out a Consortium Star Viper, which would be pretty nice for them. Got ourselves General Dodonna and K2. I do like General Dodonna on the Leia flip turn, so that's something that is pretty nice. I think I'm going to go with this Fleet Lieutenant, though. Get in for 5, and we will claim initiative. Assuming they have something to play. If they don't have something to play, then I'm pretty happy with that as well. They have initiative right now, so if they were to ECL out a Consortium Star Viper, it'd still be pretty good for them. They get to heal the 2 and get a Star Viper out in the battlefield, but they would no longer have initiative at that point, and we would claim initiative. We would kill... Okay, so they're going to get down a Phase 3 Dark Trooper, huh? Fleet Lieutenant looks pretty good. Another General Dodonna. I think General Dodonna is a little bit weak here. Let's just go ahead and attack with both of these guys. Leia action, get into attacks. Let's play K2. And let's claim initiative. Salacious Crumb, huh? So here we've got General Dodonna plus Rebel Assault, which looks pretty good. I think I'm going to resource this Echo Base Defender because I'm going to kill their Salacious Crumb. I think I want to do that. Just get in for multiple points of damage. They can trade with the K2, hit them for 3. They can't deploy Darth Vader quite yet, but it should be coming soon. I can get down a Fleet Lieutenant here once I get down Leia to get in for 2 points of additional damage, or I can put down General Dodonna to get in an additional point of damage. They could have a Kylo Ren. Oh, they have Overwhelming Barrage, huh? Nice. They get to kill both of my units. Let's go ahead and hit them for 3. Let's go ahead and play a General Dodonna. If they want to kill General Dodonna, that's fine. I'll attack in with Leia. Yep. Let's flip Leia. Let's attack in for 4. They can deal 1. That's fine. We attack in for 4. They could have ECL here, which would look pretty nice for them. But we'll have Cassian. So that's pretty good as well. Wing Leader, Sabine Wren. Wing Leader is going to be pretty nice with Cassian. Any attack with Leia is going to really finish off the game. Okay, they have a Maul. So let's go ahead and ready up a Cassian. They're going to claim initiative. Let's attack in for 3. Let's Tarkin Town away the mall. And let's pass. I should have probably Rebel Assaulted the Cassian, because there's a chance that I do not hit for 4 with this for a cause. There's a very good chance. They have Emperor Palpatine here. So we go for a cause, and that's 4 damage. Okay, awesome. GG. I should have Rebel Assaulted with the Cassian there, because that would have basically guaranteed the win. But this spot, there was a small chance I hit a time intervention off this for a cause. It's small because I only have the 2 copies of non-heroism cards, but I should have Rebel Assaulted to guarantee the finish. That was a pretty close game, right? We were just barely able to close out the game. And I think the key factor there was the kind of fact that we were able to get in early damage with the A-Wing plus Fleet Lieutenant. It's one of the reasons why that combination is still being played to this day. Just getting in early damage is so powerful. On to the next one. Okay, on to the next one. And we got ourselves a pretty reasonable hand. Now, Han Green, there's going to be a lot of different units that they could play to really mess us up. I think I want to keep the Y-Wing. Oh, man, this is a tough one. I think I want to get rid of Sabine Wren. I think I would like to get rid of this Y-Wing. I think... Oh, man. This one's tough. I should have kept one of these units. To be honest, I probably should have just gotten rid of this Inspiring Mentor, because they're going to play some early plot drop over here and kill off my Battlefield Marine, and then my wing leader is going to be garbage. Oh, never mind. They played a Millennium Falcon, so that ended up being pretty nice for us, because we're going to be able to wing leader up the Battlefield Marine, and everything's going to go reasonably smooth, I suppose. So I actually do like our spot now. Let's go ahead and get rid of this, probably Rebel Assault. Just going to wing leader up the Battlefield Marine, attack for 5. That's a pretty nice start. They had the Millennium Falcon. There's so many different things that they could play on turn 1 that ruin us as Han Solo. The Millennium Falcon just wrecks all of our space units. The early Ezras just do massive damage to us, to our ground units. This isn't that bad for us. Them kind of going all in on Millennium Falcon here, not really that big of a deal. They're going to resource something. I don't know why they did that. I'm not sure why. I guess to have one additional resource for the Millennium Falcon, that seems like really rough for them. Let's go ahead and get rid of this red 3. I think what we want to do is they're going to have 3 or 4 resources here. Let's just go ahead and get down a General Dodonna. That's a really big Battlefield Marine. Bright Hope, huh? All right, well, we're going to action. Attack with both. Not much else that we can do here. We're going to Tarkin Town away the Bright Hope. And, I mean, we're going to have a really, really strong curve, because we're going to be able to get down probably the K2. We're going to bounce Millennium Falcon back to hand, huh? Okay, so they're going to go for a 7 drop here. I think I actually want to get rid of one of these K2s. Let's deploy Leia here, because they can't get down a Han Solo because we just kill it with Battlefield Marine. And now they can't get a 7 drop down. So we're in like an insanely good position. They're going to claim initiative. Oh my gosh, this is absolutely destruction for them, because we're going to be able to Metal Ceremony up all 3 of these units and get a Poe Dameron down. Yeah, okay, game's over. I was going to say, they're going to go for 7 resources. We're just going to deploy Leia, and we're going to win the game, because they can't do anything, right? Like, they still don't have 7 resources. And now we just win. GG. That was not close at all. The way this matchup goes really badly for us is if we start off with a unit and they go in the same arena with a better unit. For example, we play an A-Wing, they play a Millennium Falcon. They kill our A-Wing. We play a Battlefield Marine, they play an Ezra Bridger, they kill our Battlefield Marine, right? Like that type of stuff really is brutal. I will say, the one that we're really scared about is Millennium Falcon. So the card that we want to kind of avoid, or the arena we want to avoid on turn 1, is space in this matchup, because we have things like Fleet Lieutenant, we have things like Wing Leader. So as long as we're able to actually just get to our second turn without losing our unit, then we can fight back a little bit. But we just got to avoid Millennium Falcon. Millennium Falcon's a scary card in this matchup. Anyways, on to the next and final one of today. Decided to give you all a bonus one. I know I normally do 7 games. Well, it kind of varies, but Leia Red is fast, and I've played a lot of this deck, so kind of just make the plays since I'm so used to it. But yeah, this is pretty sweet one. I'm going to keep this hand. Once again, you kind of want to avoid the space arena. This is a reasonable hand, but I'm going to resource both of my 2 resource space units. Because, well, we don't want to be relying on space units here when they have Millennium Falcon potential on turn 1. That's the scary part. So we're going to go with a Battlefield Marine. They went with their R2-D2. R2-D2 is really not the scariest here. Oh, thank you. Thank you for enjoying the videos. We got a couple of different options here, but I don't know if I care about the R2. They have initiative, which means that we get to see what they do. And based on what they play here, we could potentially get in for an additional point of damage with the red 3 played first. I think the thing that we don't want to see the most is them just deploying more things to the board. Like that's what kind of potentially makes it a little bit more tricky for us. Because they went with attack with R2 first, I think we're likely to be able to get an additional point with red 3. And we're going to be able to get in for 4 here into their base. They have Ozatec Liberator Gunship, huh? All right, so we're going to claim initiative. Draw ourselves a secondary General Dodonna. I think I'm going to resource that one. So Liberator Gunship, excellent card against us for sure. Let's just get down to General Dodonna, get that Battlefield Marine pumped up, try to get in as much damage as we possibly can. So they're going to attack for 1, which makes me think that they don't really have any way to kill my General Dodonna or Battlefield Marine. So I'm just going to get rid of their Liberator Gunship while I have the opportunity to prevent them from getting in for some extra damage. We're going to get down Leia next turn. Looks like they have a Bodhi, so they can get rid of For Cause, or they can get rid of Inspiring Mentor. Let's get in for 4. They're going to claim initiative. We're going to pass. Got ourselves a Cassian, Inspiring Mentor, Battlefield Marine. Okay. Let's go ahead and resource this Cassian. Attack my Battlefield Marine, huh? Okay, let's attack in for 4 into their base then. They can double trade there. That looks perfectly fine for us. Let's deploy Leia. And I think we want to get Cassian down here. He attacks for 4. I'm kind of curious because the thing we're scared about is like a Han Solo unit. That's the card that we're most scared about, because you kill General Donna, then kill Leia without taking any damage. So that's going to be pretty bad for us. The question is, do I want to get Inspiring Mentor and flood the board with Battlefield Marine? I think I actually do want to go ahead and do that. Because now we can Inspiring Mentor up Leia, and now they cannot deploy Han into us. So we kill, pump up, attack for 5, and now they can't get on a 7-drop. Which is really, really massive. So that's really going to wreck our opponent's kind of plan here. I think that was kind of our best solution to what they were trying to do. They're going to get down a tech. And how much damage is this? 6-11? 12? Not quite lethal. As a result, I will play a Battlefield Marine. They could have a lot of different things in their resource pile, but I think getting down another unit here is going to be pretty relevant, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Here, Poe Dameron is going to be not very useful. Even General Dodonna is going to have more impact on the board because it can immediately pump up some other stuff, so let's go ahead and resource that Poe Dameron. And they have a lot of things to deal with because they can't get down Han Solo unit right now. And that means that unless they have a way to kill Leia, then they're going to take a ton of damage, or kill General Dodonna, I suppose, that they're going to take a ton of damage. They could have Cunning, and if they have Cunning, then we are really, really, yeah. So they're going to bounce, most likely, and exhaust. Yep, so they're going to do exactly that. Let's go ahead and get in a Cassian here, readied up. What did we smuggle in? A Metal Ceremony. Okay. Remember, Cassian's going to be able to hit for 4 here, so we're going to be able to get in a decent chunk of damage. Cunning's just kind of a stall tactic here while they build up to their bigger resource amount for Han Solo unit. That's the car, again, we're scared of. Oh. Claim initiative. We win. We get to get down a fleet lieutenant and attack with Leia. Put an experience on General Dodonna, attack for 6, and that's going to be game. GG. That was pretty nice, and we kind of just wrecked the Han Yellow deck, even with them having like a great ambusher against our space unit, Red 3. So they were able to kill our Red 3 on the turn that we played it. Even with them kind of picking apart our hand a little bit with Bodhi, even them having the kind of potential 7 drop, we had the answer. Inspiring Mentor plus General Dodonna pumps up Leia enough to kill Han Solo in 1 shot. Really excellent. General Dodonna in this deck is amazing. You saw so many times in our matchups, but because we're playing all Rebel units, just having that, you know, extra power. Heck, they had to trade both Bodhi plus R2 for our Battlefield Marine. That is excellent. So really awesome, guys, and really nice one to finish it off. We made some really solid decks today. So what was our experience with Leia Red today, guys? Honestly, it performed a lot better than the last time I had played it. And I think that's just because I've gotten a lot more experience with set 2 and kind of how I wanted to structure this deck. I've tried a lot of different variations of this. Again, it's my favorite leader, or one of my favorite leaders. And when set 2 was initially coming out, I was like, dang, unfortunately, we don't have a ton of rebels, but maybe I can try a few different things. And she is a lot weaker than Sabine Green, at least in my opinion. And well, I don't think anyone will argue with that, because it's not like you're seeing Leia Red pop up on top 8 of the tournament. So objectively, at least in terms of statistics, Leia is just a lot weaker than Sabine Green, and it has a very similar shell, right? Like if I were to load up a Sabine Green deck, you'd basically be seeing all of the same stuff. With the exception of, instead of U-Wing reinforcements, you'd go all in on Poe Dameron and Wrecker, and you wouldn't be playing General Dodonna for the most part, but everything else, it would be pretty similar. And with that said, Leia has some advantages to her. She deploys a turn later, has an extra point of toughness, so she can't be takedown, which is pretty relevant. And she also has the action cheating, which is one thing that I really love in this game. And she does work really well with some of the specific Rebel synergies because she's all in on them. Whereas Sabine Green kind of divides up her focus between getting some early game Rebel synergies and mid game to late game power with ECL. We're all in on Rebels. So that can be a little bit more consistent oftentimes. And you saw in these matchups where every single game I was doing the same thing. Turn 1 play, turn 2 wing leader or fleet lieutenant, turn 3 K2 or General Dodonna, like same kind of concept every single time. Just curve out, get some early units down, flip Leia, attack in with multiple units, and finish out the game. And that's what we did every single game. And she is pretty solid. This deck is good. Like it's probably a B tier deck is what I would put it. You can definitely win games with that. It's just a matter of you're kind of playing like a weaker shell of command aggression, heroism, but you're playing it with a different strategy in Leia, which is kind of fun. Definitely fun, and definitely a lot of fun times that we had with the deck. I will say the card that really impressed me the most, and this is a card that I've been back and forth on when set 2 released. The initial time I built Leia, I did not put General Dodonna in, but General Dodonna really does do a lot of work in a lot of different matchups. You would think with Han Yellows, Boba Yellows out there, Sabine Greens, where they could just kind of ECL and kill General Dodonna, would be weaker, but it actually ends up having a nice stat line against a lot of the units that people are playing nowadays, and it ends up performing pretty well. So I've been pretty impressed with that card. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, guys. Thank you all for being amazing and supporting the channel. I definitely wouldn't have come up and done a video today if you all hadn't been as supportive as you have been, just because, well, it was exciting to see. I know for those of you that watched my previous video, know I have a new baby out there, and well, I'll probably be hanging out with them, but I figured I was extremely appreciative of your appreciation. So we got an extra video today, and I'll be back tomorrow. Everything's settling down as of late, so I'm back to kind of the normal grind. As we do, life continues on. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all for the next one.